Alright, greetings all. This is Dame Fuchsia, and it's, time for another Let's Learn for a heist. And before I sort of begin, I just want to sort of note a couple things. First is the fact that you'll see down here that I'm now level Infinity 490. And if you look at the announcements down here, like you see update Fury 5.1 is now live, and update Fury 5 and Engage Assault Pack are live. Basically, a few things happened since the last video, and the game changed a little bit as a result. If I go to my inventory here and I click on melee, you'll notice that these melee weapons now have a concealment value. So concealment's now, a bit of an issue with melee weapons. So I won't be running around with like this final tomahawk in a stealth situation, more or less, this time around, or any other time around for like these Let's Plays. And outside of that, a couple other things changed as well, but we'll get to that when I actually get into a heist. Note that my skills at this point, I'm basically going for a Ghost Mind type of build, so as you can see, I've got like Inspire Ace, and I have Control Freak here, as you can see. And I've also got a bunch of Ghost skills. I haven't yet aced out ECM Specialist. I'm going to eventually do that on this build, but we'll have to get, a little bit up in the rep, and I'm actually planning to test out Moving Target as well, so basically there's going to be, a few things still to do in this build before you get to, completely filling it out. But for the most part, we're more or less ready to do the heist for Shower Raid. And the reason I'm sort of like holding off on doing any more heists recently is just sort of simple reason that I want to level up my character a little bit before doing so. Stronger character, easier stuff and all that. So Shower Raid, this is the heist I'll be doing next. And Shower Raid, for the most part, is the only heist in the game that's stealth only. Essentially, this has, there is no plan B. If you get caught, then it's pretty much over. You're going to have to basically escape with the loot, if you have enough loot. And if you don't, then you fail the mission. It's quite interesting for that fact. We're going to try off the AI team here. Now let's jump in here initially on normal. And basically just show you around. Alright, I suppose I can also drop in a couple of things as well of note. This heist is also one that I also kind of recommend you do solo, if you play it. Unlike many of the other heists that we've basically been doing, like, bank heists, for example, like say, like you should probably have someone else come around with you, and other heists and such. This is a heist that I actually recommend you do solo, because it's all about stealth. Alright, so Shower Raid. Basically, the important part, do not set off the alarm. If you do, I'm pulling you out. And that's like the most emphasized part of this raid. You do not want to get caught. This is a stealth-only heist, and you have to really have your wits about you to keep stealth alive. For the assets here, I'll note that I bought them all. There's like the bag zip line, which basically allows you to transport your goods. There's the additional drop-off point. Basically, there's other places you can drop off your loot. And then there's a couple other assets like thermal paste here. This is a little bit new. And basically trying to show off what all these are all about. And then there's also supply bags and spotter, which you probably already can guess what those are all about anyways. I'll note that for the gear I'm basically bringing in, we're going to be going with like, this, basically I'm going with a detection rate risk of free. Suit, ECMs, a deagle, which is, capable of killing people, and pretty much we're good to go with all this stuff. So let's just jump in and I'll basically show off what Shower Raid's all about. And it's a very quick intro, as you can see, only one line from Bane. Just get in and put on your mask. Alright, first things first, here's the thermal paste. Alright, so basically he's saying over here is the front gate, but he recommends doing alternative routes. Basically this... Very helpful, Bane. Basically what he's saying, just to sort of give you a heads up, this is a good chance that there's going to be watched by guards over here. So if you wander in here, there's a likely you could get spotted going in here, so they don't, he doesn't recommend it. Luckily, I can sort of sneak in here for a simple reason that it's normal. On normal difficulty, you shouldn't have much trouble going for the front gate, but on higher difficulties, you'll see why it's a little more difficult. Alright, here's a money bag. And essentially, yes, very helpful, Bane. So essentially, you're going around this map looting stuff. Your whole goal is basically to loot whatever you have to loot. In this case, I have to loot 3 bags, and then I'm good to go. And initially, what we're going to do here, I'm just going to walk through these containers and look for a few money bags. I have to watch out for workers or guards possibly seeing me as I do this, but for the most part, it's a fairly casual bit of a heist, so it shouldn't be too much of an effort to get some money out. Note that generally the spotter here is very helpful for sort of helping you out. As you can see, the spotters allow me to basically see where these guards are, so I know there's a guard right there. There's a worker right there next to him. And luckily, the detection rate is fairly, very minimal here because I think it's normal, and that, affects their ability to detect you. So initially, as you can see, I'm sort of running around, grabbing loot and just getting it out. Or in this case, I'm just throwing it over the fence, and I'll get back to it later. Where essentially, I'm just going to grab the loot and then throw it into the van. But initially, I'm just throwing it out into, where I can get to it, or just throwing it out completely. Now, essentially, it didn't happen here, but there's a possibility that there's going to be a loot drop-off point right over this fence here. Essentially, one of the places that, you can get the loot drop-off is right up here. You'll have, like, this fence down, and you can just throw loot in there, and you'll basically just get your loot out immediately. Oh. Luckily, he didn't see me there. There's a worker down there I want to watch out for. Basically, what I'm going to do here, this container here is kind of oddly placed. You have to jump up to here to get to it. And note here is a crowbar. Crowbars are sort of important for a bit more complex part of this heist. Essentially, you have to open up stuff. Now, I sort of just want to wait here for his guard. Let him move around and continue on. Now, I'll note basically I've looted more or less most of the stuff in here. There's only like so many containers, and I've pretty much gone through them already. So the containers are basically considered the easy part of this heist, I guess, by the developers. You just have to watch out for guards and workers at, wandering around, and there's lots of space for you basically to avoid them as necessary. Note here, by the way, there's a fence you can cut to get down, and right at the end over there is a place where I can drop off my loot. I want to watch out for cameras. There's sometimes cameras out in the back here, and there's also a possibility for him. I'll note, by the way, you don't want to be killing these like regular guards, and you'll see why. For the most part, it looks like this is a casual bit of stealth doing all this, but there's a reason not to be wanting to kill those guards. Now, note that this is a zip line. This zip line allows you to get your loot out. So basically, once you put it on the zip line, it'll take the loot out and drop it off on the tug out there. And then there's, you can see, one free secured. Note as well that this body that is picked up, if you want to dispose of bodies, here's a good way of getting rid of them. Doink! Gone away. Alright, now at this point we basically gone through the front yard, and I consider the front yard, I guess, kind of like the easy part of this heist. You shouldn't have too much issue with it. So at this point I can basically just make my way out, and I'll note over here there's a loot drop point. If you don't get the empty lot, this is where you dump off your loot. Right in here, this is basically a drop point for your loot. It's not the greatest place for it, but whatever. Actually, the zipline out there in this one, I consider these to be the lackluster options for disposing of your loot in this mission. By the way, he's talking about chopper. I'm just going to go up this ladder here. Note that in this heist, after a certain amount of time, a chopper's going to drop in. And here's the chopper dropping in now. Depending on what can happen, you may get a chopper that'll drop in with extra loot for you to loot, or you could get something worse. And I'll basically show you off worse, hopefully, in like the next run through of this. I'm basically gonna do this a couple times, and I'm gonna do this again on a higher difficulty. Note that basically in there's an artifact for you to loot. And you know what? Maybe I'll actually try and loot it. I don't see one here, so whoop, we'll go over here. And let's give this a go. I don't usually go for this artifact because it's a very terrible item to go for. And I missed this container here, but oh well. Essentially, once you have a crowbar, note that these containers here, this is a crate that requires that you have a crowbar to open it. And you pick up an artifact basically when you manage to go in here. Okay, move. As you can see, I'm moving very slow due to the heavy weight of this artifact. Okay, we're just going to open this manhole and drop it down here. I didn't really do a proper check of this container, so we'll do that first. And nothing's in here. So let's just get this artifact and the rest of this loot out. So essentially, once you're sort of ready to go, I actually recommend you do this, by the way, when you have around the amount of loot you need to get out. Essentially, the part of this heist, the first part is just, getting the loot, the safe places where you can basically dispose of it to your, awaiting, loot drop points. And then in the second part, it's muling. So you get to see me mule now. And away we go. You'll note, by the way, I'm in the sewers here, and I use the thermal paste to sort of go through that bar. The thermal paste, its purpose is basically to open up those grates so that you can basically get through the sewers and all that. Very, very helpful. I actually highly recommend you buy that asset, regardless of where you think much about the zip line or the... you really should buy all the assets because they do sometimes make life easier for you. But the thermal paste is the most important one. Followed by body bags. Body bags are also fairly important in this one. And yes, I'm moving very slowly because I've got the artifact. Artifacts are something very unique to this heist, and basically they're extremely heavy items. And as you can see, I move like a snail with it. They're essentially the heaviest item in game, or they're basically on par with the heaviest item in game. And they're worth a lot when you get them, but they're a chore to take out. In many respects, I sometimes recommend you don't take artifacts because of how heavy they are. And as you can see, it is worth it to take them out, but they're just a chore to get them out. And that's done. And I'll note that before I basically go away, there's another thermal paste in here, so you get 2 thermal paste with the thermal paste asset. So there's normal for you. That's what normal's all about. Now, something important I sort of missed. I'm not sure you really noticed, but next to the zipline asset that I basically used at the far corner of the heist, there's like a ladder where that guard was I killed. I'm not sure if you noticed that ladder where the guard was killed. Just go back to the video if you didn't. But on the hard difficulties, you'll notice something about that ladder. That's fairly important to, I should have mentioned it at that time, but it's something I overlooked, but oh well. And I got myself material, rich radioactive. Alright, so that was normal shallow raid, and as you can see, only it was like, 3 bags to get it out. Nothing really too hard about it. Let's up the difficulty a little bit, shall we, and see what happens. Okay, so crime night offline. I'm going to jump into shallow raid this time on overkill. And this will be fun, because this is where it gets a little bit more difficult. You might think that 3 bags is nothing to it, but on higher difficulties it gets a little bit more, thrill-seeking, shall we say. And Death Wish, I should probably actually note something. I've actually done this mission on this heist in Death Wish. It's not that hard. Death Wish is actually something I could do, but I figure I'll just keep to normal and overkill and all that type of difficulties. for a simple purpose that there is some things to know in Overkill. Or on Death Wish that are different. Alright, we've already listened to all that, so let's just get going. And as you can see, I'm loading, because, you know, that's something I like to do on my heist. Loading. Alright. Top left corner, 9 bags. So that's, you know, a fairly big difference. Now, note where the car sort of spawn. It'll always spawn down here, but the car itself might change its position. So this is actually a better position for it because the buy bag and the frontal paster are actually reachable from inside that wall, which is kind of nice. Now, note that the front gate over here, this is where it sort of gets a little bit more difficult. So note that there's now a guard there. So that guard can sometimes spawn on higher difficulties than I think on normal. And then that makes it a little bit more difficult going from the front gate, so you have to find alternative, basically routes to get in. Like up this way. Alright, this is my favorite way of getting in, by the way. And, oh, we got murky water up there. So you haven't really seen these guys yet, but these are the murky water mercenaries. So these are murky water mercenaries. These guys are fairly difficult, shall we say, to kill in combat if you alert them. They essentially have very high hit points. They have fairly decent damage. They're essentially maximum force responders. And where possible, you don't want to tick them off. I'll also note, by the way, there's a zip line now over here. So instead of the one down to the barge, ours now goes over to that building over there, which is actually more convenient if you like this heist. I actually prefer this one because it makes it easier to get your loot out. Alright, those guys are actually good here because I'm not actually going to be taking loot out just yet. Alright, I'm getting a little bit of lag, which is a bit of a nuisance, but we're just going to try doing this as easily as possible. Alright, so note in here, this is like the actual warehouse. You want to be very careful in here because there's murky waters all over the place. And there's cameras too that like to spawn casually all over the place as well. But more importantly up here, if you make it all the way to the room right there, inside here you'll find the security room for this base. And once you kill the cam guard, you don't have to worry about cameras. So the first things, you know, I like to do in this heist is come to this camera room and kill the cam guy. So I don't have to worry about the cameras. There's also something else important about this guy as well that's worth noting, this, you know, for you to see. Ooh. I did not want him to fall forward like that. Alright, so this guy's dead. I have to move his body a little bit. Sometimes he'll go backwards, which is better, because then you don't have to bag him. He can just, you know, not be seen by the other guards or anyone else walking by there. But he killed over, sadly, there, so it sucked. So I'll note with the camera asset, you can see where everyone else is in the building. And once he's out of the way, you don't have to worry about cameras yourself. And now the fun begins. Oop. So now I got a murky guard right there. I have to sort of watch for him. Now, note that I also picked up a key card. So you'll always find a key card on the camera guy here. That's just, you know, hard programmed in. He will always have one. And there was another guard. I think he's the one who actually went to that guard over there. Now, note that there's a server here. This server isn't really important, but there's an achievement basically that's in regards to the server. And the server itself isn't worth very much, and it's kind of heavy to take out, but essentially you'll find it there. I'm basically going to try and loot all the different pieces of items just so you can see where they all are, basically. So if you're going for a specific achievement that requires you to get all specific pieces of loot, you'll know how to do it. Anyhow, this zip line here is it's kind of, I like this zip line a lot better for a simple reason that if you're playing with other people, you can drop that on the other roof and then they can just, mule it out for you. And it also is really convenient to sort of, come up here and take it out rather than, say, taking it down there in the higher difficulties. It's actually a really great zip line for getting your loot out. Okay, let's get you out. So here's some money. You'll find money in here as well, not just... You'll basically find different pieces of loot inside here. The money is the least desirable, shall we say, but you'll find it along with the other stuff. So the money will go out. I don't think guards can see the loot, but they can see you for sure up there. Now, is there a crowbar around? Yes, it is. So here's a crowbar. This shipping crate is much like, the other one. You need the crowbar to open it, and you'll find a painting in here. The painting is not a very common loot, but can spawn either right there where you just picked it up, or inside the actual warehouse down there, which I'll eventually get to. So right now we've got 3 pieces of loot out. That's fairly good. Alright, this is already bad. Essentially, the second reason I come up to the roof here is for a simple reason that this guy can spawn. This is the second type of helicopter that spawns, and unlike the first helicopter, this one doesn't drop off loot. This drops off more mercenaries, so I'm just going to stand here for a moment, and you're going to see mercenaries pop out of here. So yeah, there's mercenaries popping up. So now I have to deal with those guys, along with everything else for this stealth mission. So this went from, kind of hectic, fairly quick there. And these guys will walk toward, this, where I'm walking here. Okay, we're just going to stay here, get this package. So once this happens, usually it's a good time to maybe consider going elsewhere for loot, or being excessively careful when you're looting this stuff. Because, yeah, as you can see, 4 guys have been dropped off, and I have to deal with all 4 of these guys now for this mission. So he's down. Not to worry though, there's still other locations for me to find loot. I can still go up to the upper floor, but we won't do that for a little bit. For now, we'll go elsewhere, and that elsewhere is actually going to be coming down over here, I think. And we'll pick open this lock. Now, as a general recommendation in any stealth mission, you shouldn't be opening doors unless you're pretty damn sure you can handle whatever pass through them, because whenever you open doors, stuff will generally like to pass through these doors. And, this is a door that will actually open up the roof to guys who maybe want to walk out for the warehouse out up to here, so you want to be careful of that. So this is the actual warehouse. This is where you go in here to find lots of shipping crates. I don't recommend coming in here unless you have a crowbar, which I do, so we're good on that aspect. You want to watch out for workers like these guys, but more importantly, there'll be a lot of murky waters walking around in here. Whoa, a little bit too close. I need him to go away before I can go down. Some situations it's actually beneficial to go after these civs, but I won't actually do that just yet. We'll do that later, perhaps. Essentially, these civs can carry something important, another key card. And the key cards have a bit of value in this. Oh shoot, guy right there. Grab this money. Okay, so he's there. These murky waters will run around here quite a bit. You want to be very careful of them. Because unlike the civilian, they will shoot at you and trigger the alarm. Now, you want to be very careful in here for another reason. The spotter, unlike, outside, does not spot anyone in here. So the spotter will spot guys on the roof for you, but once you get in here, they, you're basically fair game for these guys to see you. And also know something as well. If you don't have the spotter asset, it does get very hard to do the outside area. If you do, then it's very easy, as you can see, because you basically have locations for all the guards. But outside of having a spotter asset, it's very difficult to sometimes see where all these guards are, because there is containers between you and them. It's hard to keep track of their locations because there's quite a few of them. Okay, I think at this point we've got coke, money, painting, server, money. So 5 items have been dropped on the adjacent roof over there. I'm going to look for at least, hopefully 2 more items, essentially, before I basically start taking that to the car. I'm basically knowing that you want to take your loot out eventually. You don't want to just take 9 bags out and then start ferrying out. You want to do it as quickly as possible, so you have time, shall we say, to basically get your loot out if you need to in a hurry. Because sometimes you have to do this stuff in a hurry. Okay, civilian down there. You're here. Okay, good. He's finally moving, so let's go over to the forklift. I don't like the forklift because it's kind of in the middle here of all this stuff. I want to get out of the way quickly. And nothing's in it, so wasted to go there. Oh well, it's good to know there's nothing in there now. Now, note that down here, in this general areas where you'll find the other painting, if it spawns. Or the other painting spawn location, rather. So, this is where you look for the other painting if you didn't find it upstairs in the warehouse. So here's some coke. And coke I can run with if I want to. Now, as a general recommendation, I never recommend running in this heist unless you're damn well sure that you need to. If you run, then there's a high chance that someone's going to see you, because it's just, how sprinting works. Sprinting gets you seen very quickly. By the way, there's a ladder here you can use if you want to. This can be useful to get out to containers if you need to get loot out from the main yard. And it's great to have the zip line because it makes it very easy to get the loot from the front yard out through there if I need to. Alright, so a couple more shipping crates in here, as you can see. Artifact. Prepare for the snail run. Whee! So he's there. As you can see, I'm crouching with this. But I just want to make sure I'm not seen. But basically with the artifact, you're in a bit of a pickle because you move very slowly. And if any guys creep up on you, it's going to be very likely they will outrun you, even if you're, trying to get away from them. But here's an artifact, and as you can see, they spawn sometimes in these containers, and once you get them out, hooray. If possible, I actually recommend getting the artifacts from in here if you need one, just for a simple reason that they're basically easier to take from in here. And you'll notice I'm always looking around to make sure there's no guards up here as well. Because, as you saw at the beginning, there's guards up here. Murky water guards. And that's something I know about this heist. The murky waters are always inside the building area sort of over here. The regular guards out there, there's the regular guards out there. They're lower tier guards. think we'll try and loot the entire shipping containers from all in here, and then we'll move on. As you can see, you want to be very careful walking around too. Okay, it's so easy to be seen for all over the place in here. Through there. Okay, good. You stay there for a little bit. There's a guy out there too. Now, while I'm here, I may not get a chance to sort of show you this later. But over here is a guard. Hooray! Alright, once this guy moves out of the way a little bit. Keep moving, keep moving. Okay, stop for a little bit. I'm going to assume he's going to stay there for a little moment. There's that was a little bit close. You only saw a glimpse of it. Basically, there's a vault there for key cards. And that keycard vault is the only part of this heist that really requires a second person. Okay, he's moving out of the way finally, so I can give you a good look at it. As you can see, sometimes guys will wander around in this area, so I want to watch out for that. Alright, so this is the 10-second... Note what Bane's saying there almost simultaneously. Basically a very short duration to sort of put stuff from, basically your keycards in there. If, like, one of those guys is next to it, you might get a chance to get a keycard from, but essentially you need two players, each holding a keycard, to put it in at the same time to get the loot from that vault. And getting the loot from that vault is part of an achievement, just so I'll throw that out there so you know. Shit! Okay, I need to go quick. So I've got to go very quick. Okay, we're done. So this is, a failed attempt. I accidentally got spotted there, and that screwed us up. And I'll basically just show you off what happens when you fail, but essentially you have, point no return 1 minute. And if, you basically have 1 minute to try and get your loot out. If you do, great, but if you don't, then you suck. So I'll just restart the game at this point. But basically, that's what happens when you fail. You have like 1 minute to get your loot out, and then you're screwed, or, you get out. Anyhow, that's basically the warehouse in sort of depth. I'll try and show off a little bit more of the warehouse. Hopefully, I'll note, by the way, that helicopter dropped off guards, there. Sometimes it'll be the, the loot helicopter in, like, no overkill, so that's great, but if you get more guards, then obviously it's going to get, more difficult, because there's more guards to worry about. It's too bad I got spotted there, but, oh well. Alright, we'll try this one more time, and hopefully I can, get the loot out without screwing up. I really should have, I really should have taken my own advice there and gotten all 9 bags to the loot van so I could, just run to the van. But I didn't, and as you can see, there's a problem with, what I, said there and didn't do. Alright, so I'm basically, going to use the same sort of strategy over here. We're just going to go up here, jump in, kill the cam guy, and hope that we can get some loot out. Note that there's no zipline over there. It's down there again, so the zipline, it'll like switch those places. Also note that, I guess you can't really see yet, but just going to run down here real quick. As you can see, speed is fairly essential in getting out through here. Hooray! We got a camera there! So this is something to be very careful of. Sometimes you'll have a camera popping up right there. It's nothing, too difficult to avoid, but it's difficult if there's guards around that you want to, avoid alerting. So that guy was right there. Whoops. That guy that spotted me was right there. That's where he spotted me from. That's like the worst place for him to spawn, too. Sometimes to walk over to these windows here, too, so I'll watch out for that. Okay, he's going away. Yes, all my ECMs won't help me if guards start answering their pagers. And also note, by the way, that when I shot that guard, when I sort of, he detected me and he got alerted. It didn't take, he took a shot. He'll take a lot of shots if he's alert to go down. And I'll note, by the way, I'm very happy with how this guy fell over. Note that he can't be seen from the door very easily now, because, right here, he's easy to see. Right there, very hard to see. No one will come into this room, by the way, so this is a great way to drop off your body bags in there. So if you tie down civs or if you kill guards, throw them in there, and likely no one will see them. And no server. By the way, servers can spawn in those spots right there if you're looking for them. Alright, so let's look around the warehouse for a little bit. Note that you can look inside these for, basically stuff. Okay, nothing's in here. So if you want to, you can drop a keycard in those slots, and I recommend doing that if you're in solo. I'll wait for a little bit before doing so, but... Painting. So you guys saw the painting, very nice. Now, unfortunately, there's no real good place to drop off this loot. And, basically note that I can take it down to the dumpster over there. But there's really no good place to drop off this loot that is picked up. As you can see... Oh! But anyhow, remember the ladder we had over here? It's gone. Guard's there, but there's no ladder. So basically, this ladder disappears on the hard difficulties right there. And this is where it gets a little bit more difficult to sort of, get down if you need to. Want to watch out for this guy up there, as you can see. Now, what I like to do here at this point is essentially... Can you see me? Nope. I like to come over here, and I basically like to drop down to the barbed fence. And then jump down here. And we'll just, drop the loot here if it's available. So this is a great place to drop off loot. Now, I didn't know it, but sometimes there's cameras down here, so watch out for that. There's lots and lots of different features about this heist that can, change how it basically plays. Alright, he's going to be there for a little bit, so let's go pick open this door. Just do something. You basically want to keep doing something while... Ah, damn it. We're almost up to 5 minutes. We're going to eventually get that helicopter that pops in, and then I'll have to deal with that. Okay, he's going to stay there for a while, so I'm just going to wait for him. He might actually... Oh, no, he's moving finally. I'll note, by the way, that sometimes these guards they'll hold position, and those guard a certain location constantly. And you didn't really hear it, but there's going to be a helicopter coming. Essentially, what happens is there's going to be like a little, microphone type of thing, and hooray! It's the good one! So once you see that little, box coming there, that's the container. So that container is the one that's going to go down there, so we don't have to worry about more guards popping in. Hooray. Alright, well, I'm not so worried anymore about, you know, basically more guards popping around, so basically let's go down here and get this done a little bit. Look around, I don't see any civilians or guards. Well, I do see a civilian down there, but he's down there. Guard right there. As you can see, I'm just wandering around to get to this shipping crate and get out of the way. Why? This is worse than there being nothing in there. Because I'm so tempted to get out. Yes, an artifact. I really shouldn't be going up with the artifact to the top of the roof, but you know what? Because of the fact that the helicopter dropped off an artifact in the main, you know, lot for me to sort of deal with, I'm actually tempted basically to show you off why the sewers are really great. So maybe we'll do that next. And yes, I gotta carry this artifact all the way over to a dumpster. And I don't really think much of the dumpster, to be honest. I did drop the painting in there, but it's not the greatest way to sort of drop off loot. I actually prefer the empty lot adjacent to the place, because it makes it easier for getting stuff out out of like the main lot. Basically, I'll show you why it just like sucks over here. Okay, essentially, is there anyone looking? No one's really around here to look, so... Okay, we're just going to take this artifact, make sure no one's going to look as I throw it over onto the stairs over here. By the way, pro tip, when you're going to, you know, go here, run. Sprint all the way over to the stairway to get down safely. If you don't, bad things might happen. Specifically, you'll fall from a height that will, you know, incapacitate you. But anyhow, I basically don't like that dumpster because for a simple reason that it's not that hard to take this loot out to the van from, you know, basically this point. The van is literally, you know, just a hopscotch out in front of the front gate, but you really don't have to worry about stuff seeing you in front of the front gate, so we'll just merely get this out. And as you can see, muling! And this is going to be something you'll notice about this heist. It's a lot of muling. Especially on Overkill and Death Wish, it's muling a whole lot of bags. Now, when you're out here, you want to be very careful of, like, you know, other guards than this guy. That guard will probably never see you if you're completely free and carrying something and walking like this, but other guards that are near him might actually see you. He's not very observant, but the other guards that wander around near him are, so they can see you sometimes from, like, the far end there, but he won't. Slowly, slowly, slowly. I got 2 body bags. And just to, you know, sort of just note it, if you press tab, you can see how many body bags you have in the bottom right over there. Which is good if you're, you know, very concerned about those. Alright, so this is a sewer entrance over here. And the manhole, basically, once you open it, gives you access to a lot of areas in the game. Now, depending on how it spawns these gates, you may be able to get a good distance in here with thermal paste. The first gate there basically divides you from the street and the inside lot. We're just going to go over here. I'll pick up some more thermal paste. And you only get 2 thermal paste, by the way, so I can only burn 3 girders. Got murky water on top of the roof there. I can tell because he's outlined. Alright, so the first gate, once you open it, it will basically take you out to the lot. And from the lot, you can basically get out the loot from, like, a couple of spots. From inside here, the warehouse over here if you want. Sometimes you can, like, take stuff out of this place. I actually probably shouldn't open that until I'm ready to actually do that. The other spot you can do is to take the stuff from these containers. One that just dropped and right in here sometimes. So go in here, I'll loot these two spots, hopefully. And that's kind of frustrating. Okay, watch this. Sometimes civilians will sometimes come over here and just look at the loot. And then you can't really do anything until they're out of the way. Now, note that there's a guy over there. So sometimes there's going to be a guy camping that dumpster there. I suppose right there. You know what? Let's just open this end. Okay, you gotta wait for this guy to move, and then I can basically do what I did last time, basically. Okay, you're not coming toward me, so do it now. If it looks like there's going to be anyone coming towards you, don't take this. Because it's very, very, it's heavy. You don't want to be taking this out and having guys near you that are possibly going to wander in your area. If they see you, you're stuck. Okay, I want to know that I'm getting up here because that guy's too far away to see me, but he might come toward me a little bit, so there's a good instance where you want to just jump up to do that. Alright, so basically this is what, I consider that those two places to be where you go initially to get loot, and then additionally you can also go inside the warehouse to get loot out from there as well. And we'll take out another heavy artifact, because I got 2 artifacts to carry out this time around. Yes, it's very possible to get more than 1 artifact. And they're so damn heavy and slow. But they're worth so much. Oddly enough, I've looted the interesting items, the painting and the artifact. I consider them interesting because they're around to pick up. Slowly, slowly, slowly. That's what the artifact's all about. And yeah, as you can probably all guess from the last minute of use as well, watch me mule this. Lots of muling will take place in this heist. I think I've already stated that already, but lots of muling. That's the frustrating part about this heist, by the way. Sometimes you can screw up the muling too. I've had people with me, like, I just told them mule. They'll get caught just running around the front door there, or they miss a camera because they thought, it's free, there's no one going to be back there to see them. There's going to be a camera sometimes back there. All these different things that they can screw up even while muling. At least money isn't as heavy as the artifact, so I can move around a little bit faster with it. Oops. So 4 of 9, we're getting there. Alright, so 4 of 9. Now I get to show you off why the sewers are a little bit more great. So that's basically like the first area that the sewers will give you access to. Past this, however, is where you get to the real fun. Damn. Oh well. I'm going to burn this just to... It makes it very easy for you. I essentially consider these 2 girders, if they spawn, to be the main ones you want to get rid of, by the way. Because once you get through these 2 ones, they'll give you access to the warehouse. This manhole leads you to directly inside the warehouse, or pretty much right next to like the vault. Okay, no one's around. Essentially, right there is the vault. So that's where we popped up. We're basically right here, next to it. Not going to start looting the weapons and such. Weapons. Get that coke. And I consider this to be a very quick way of getting stuff out. If no guards are around, you can just, loot like without mercy here and grab lots of stuff. Got some gold. And is there any coke in the locker? Nope. Sometimes you'll find coke in the lockers, by the way, here. None seems to have spawned this time around, but oh well. Nice. Sometimes weapons can spawn here as well. And this is where I should have taken the artifact the first time, like from the, the inside there. I shouldn't have gone up with it. Essentially, if you go this way, it's very, very quick to get the loot out. Okay, there's a worker, I think, or something I saw there. Keep an eye on your surroundings, obviously, when you're running around in here. But as you can see, you can loot very quickly from this spot. That's the power manhole, shall we say. Once you have it, you have the power to loot like mad. Watch those stairs. Those are like a real hazard for guys seeing you. And this is actually a good point to maybe go out this way. So you get to see why the... this is the second point where this is good. You can go out the manhole out here if it's available. And I think I will, just for the simple reason that guy's there and he might see me if I try and carry this loot by him. Generally, no one will come out here until you open the door, so once you open this door, guys will path out here, but until then, you can basically just not worry about it. Let's get this stuff out. By the way, I will say, like, as walking around here, you probably don't have to worry about being detected, but if you have coke or if you have painting, don't sprint right there. Sprinting can easily get you seen by that guy, I think, or anyone else. So don't sprint around there. At least don't sprint unless you know you're not going to be seen. I should also note, by the way, be very careful going down these sewers or any other place in here that has like a height to it. A lot of people, generally there's two ways that people fail this heist. The first way is that they'll get caught by someone. The second way is that they'll fall from a height and die. And that's generally how people get screwed over. They fall from a height and then, they keel over and die. And I've actually lost this heist not because of the fact that I got caught, but because, I fell from a great height and fell over and died. And I think the sewer ladders were fixed somewhat so that, it's very hard to do that, but it's still very possible to fall from those ladders and incapacitate yourself. A running gag one of my friends has, by the way, is to invite me in when you stand right here, and then what will happen is you'll basically fall and get incapacitated when you spawn in and someone's like that at the top of the ladder. Because you don't spawn connected to the ladder, you spawn falling from, 20 or 30 feet up. I think at this point we may have looted everything already. I technically looted the server in any other run, though not in this one. But you've seen basically all the loot. You've seen coke, painting, artifact, weapons, money, server. Is there anything else? That might be it. Coke, painting, money, gold. Yeah, there's lots of stuff as you can probably see to pick up. And as you can see, I've already picked up enough loot to get out of here, but I'm going to hold off on doing so. Basically on overkill. On normal, I basically just get out with what you can, because if you're doing normal, why not just get out with the minimum? If you're doing overkill, I maybe suggest trying to get a little bit more if possible if you're greedy, because you'll get more for it. On Death Wish, you need to get as much as possible, but on overkill, it's worth more money basically for you to do so. It's actually worth farming this on overkill for the money. There's coke, we can run with that. Yay, I can run with a bag! Coke and painting, they're the best for running stuff around. I'm going to run out of stamina in a moment, but oh well, we're about to get a heavy item, I think. Yep, that's weapons, those are heavy. Do. Alright, so for the most part, you've seen more or less the bottom part of that area for looting stuff. And the top area is just like it, basically. And I'll note, by the way, that it takes a little bit of time to do this heist. As you can see, I'm already 22 minutes in, so... which is annoying. I've gone for like 3 minutes of and then like failing in this heist. It's a real letdown sometimes. But for the purpose of trying to show you off more, because there is a couple of things I haven't really shown you off in the heist, I'm going to try to do so. There's some coke. He's going to enjoy a cigarette a little bit more. Smoking. Everyone seems to smoke for some reason in this heist, or in this game. The guards, Dallas, Wolf. Everyone likes to smoke. I should really try and pick up a different habit to have people do than smoke all day. I realize that some people might do that, but it'd be nice to have other stuff for him to do. So there's Shao Raid on overkill more or less. You could escape at this point. So this is more or less a completion. But let's just try and show off a few more things I missed. So you saw more or less the over yard, and you saw, me just like dropping off loot from like the zip line onto the adjacent building and stuff like that. And there's lots of different tips, as you can see, sort of follow. Yep, he's there, so I want to watch out for him walking that way. Let's go this way. Okay, so first things first, note that in here, this office, sometimes there's money. So if you're looking for a spare bag of money, sometimes you can find it in here. There is none in here at the moment, so that's, there's nothing in here at the moment. The second thing to note is that in here, sometimes you'll find money. You'll also sometimes find a key card here, and on a desk here, you'll sometimes find a crowbar, and I guess I'll reinstate that. I think you'll almost always find a crowbar on the kitchen table there. So that's like the first thing to sort of like, let you know about. Now, I'm going to try something just to sort of, it might be possible, but I don't think it's, it's something that you can really easily do. But if he's the only one around here, I'm going to kill him and hopefully he has a keycard maybe. It seems like a bad idea for... I almost got caught by that guy there again. Okay, I don't want to maybe kill him with that guy up there, actually. Guy there too. Okay, got coke in there. That's just a worker, I think, actually, up there. That guy actually seems to be a good example of someone who's immobile. So sometimes you'll find immobile guards right there. That's a good place to find them sometimes, right in front of the vault. I don't think he was specifically there at the beginning, but now he is. And I guess that sometimes happens. They'll just, sometimes decide to guard a stationary spot at some point in the heist. I think that guy went away up there, which is convenient. So I'll note that you get a key card sometimes in the kitchen, sometimes on the cam guy. The other way to get key cards is from civilians and from murky water troops just wandering around. Sometimes one of them will have it on them. And you might get lucky and find it. Artifact again. That's down. This is probably like a really long shot, so to speak, what I'm going to do, but we're going to kill that guy, hope that he has a key card, and then he'll be very close to the doors that might be able to, show off the armor. I don't think it's possible perhaps to do this, more or less at a time, but it might be here, so we'll see if I can pull it off. Okay, I'm going to take a risk and say he's not close enough for this guy to see him. And that worker keeps going there, but oh well. We'll say that. We're going to take a risk, and I've already got my loot, so we're going to kill this guy, answer his pager, and then... Oh, no key card. Too bad. So sad, but oh well. So he's gone. Bane says probably 10 seconds, but I don't think it is 10 seconds to be honest, so it's worth knowing that. Okay, I've only got one buy bag, so that'll be dealt with. You know what, it feels real bad leaving that coke out there, so I'm going to go get that first, just because it's easy to. And as you can see, I've looted our free bags already, so it's very easy to loot a lot of bags if you want from this heist to get lots of money from it. Also, with that guy out of the way, it's very easy to move around in here too, which is nice. He's being oblivious, which is nice. Oops. By the way, be very careful with your loot bags. The guards do have a high perception for these loot bags, so if you drop them, they can very easily see them and then possibly sound the alarm. Alright, I think I've actually hit every single shipping crate then at this point, so the only one I've missed is the one over here, I think. Oh! And then there's a sieve. And I'll note that guard right there, as you can see. So out here is like the like the entrance, like sort of main lot over here. So that's where like that door leads to. Give you a sort of a bearing on where you are. So that's all looted. Yes, so much to loot, and I'm running out of places to loot. Okay, can I sneak by this guy? Okay, good. I can sneak up here with this guy right there, so that's nice. Actually, you know what? And there was a guy up there, but... Okay, so there's a demonstration that keycards can sometimes be dropped off these workers, so there's one keycard right there. And here's a demonstration of what you can do with the workers. If you nab them up here, then you can just take them out into the, cam room, and then you don't have to worry about them being seen in here, as you can see. No one saw him, no one saw him. So they're both out of the way. Okay, that keycard's too far away to really make use of downstairs, so you can use the keycards up here to look inside these, places. It prevents you from using them downstairs, but, if you're playing solo like this, then there's really no reason to not use them up here, I guess. We'll grab that now. And we'll get this loot out. Why not? Alright, so at this point I feel that you've gotten a fairly good grasp of what this heist is all about. So I will cut the recording for a little bit while I get this stuff out, so you don't have to see that. And then, if I manage to, basically show off something else, I'll turn the recording back on, else you'll basically see me just complete the heist. So I figured I'd note this, but that guy who just came right there, that guy is the guy is pointing out, the guy with a cigarette, that guy's always there. This is a good example. This guy right here has popped up, who can possibly see you if you try and move around, so that's where you want to watch out for guards possibly being able to see you. That guy is moving now as you sort of run around the front gate. He has the higher chance of seeing you. So anyhow, I just want to sort of point that out before I basically sort of missed it, because that was a good opportunity to sort of show it off. And at this point, we've more or less gotten out most of the loot. And I figure I'd bring up something then about, amount of loot I've gotten out, and about one of the achievements. I think there's an achievement where you have to get out 16 bags of random loot. So right now I'm up to 12 additional bags. Well, basically it's actually 12 bags, but basically I've taken out 12 bags. I think you have to get out 16 random bags of loot for an achievement. And it's very easy to get, even on overkill, that achievement for, getting all those bags. And I think possibly normal and already hard, very hard difficulty as well. And a lot of the loot you'll find is in the main warehouse, so that's where you go to get a lot of it. But I want to throw out there that essentially, if you're going to be tackling that achievement for getting the as much loot as possible, or if you're greedy and all that, you may want to go out to the front yard, or to basically go to places where you find the most difficulty is going to be for your character in getting the loot out. So in my opinion, I find the hardest parts to be sometimes the open yard sometimes. I used to do this this run without spotter, for example, so I didn't have the luxury of being able to see all those guys, and as a result, it was very hard to keep track of them all. But basically, you want to make use of your instincts on what you find hardest to get that achievement. So if you found the yard hardest, you probably try and do that first. I find the hardest bit is getting the loot out of the main building when the Murkies drop in. So I tend to beeline for the cam guy, take him out, try and get some loot out if possible before they drop, and then if they drop, then I might head out or restart the mission, or I'll basically head out and try and get out the stuff out and then redo the mission. Rather, I'll restart the mission if I fail, obviously. It's really no. I'll note that with the recent update, there's really no reason to basically, with the recent update, they changed how boosts and stealth and all that work, and there's really no reason now not to, I guess, try and get as much out as possible. I guess you no longer have to worry about, I guess, getting negative penalties, I guess, as much. So penalties aren't as big a thing anymore in this game. It used to be that you get penalized for playing a heist over and over again, but now you just get a bonus for not playing a certain heist for a long time, I think. More or less most of the time now. That cam no longer sees me. You know what? We're actually going to take it over here, I think. I know with the money bag that I can easily jump over the fence there. I really should be checking to make sure that no one's going to see me there, but at this point, if I lose the heist, then whatever. I've pretty much shown you more or less most of the stuff that's going to be happening here. To be honest, yeah, the only thing I can really show you at this point would be the samurai armor. I probably, I haven't really been telling you like what the samurai armor is, but it's basically inside the vault, and it's part of the achievement for, it basically it's a big achievement, the samurai armor that's inside the vault. You need basically 2 people to get it, which I don't have, so I can't show you it. But if you have 2 key cards, you enter the vault simultaneously, you'll get 4 pieces of samurai armor, which is great. Okay, both those guys are right there. They're actually looking at you there, I think, so it kind of sucks to try and go after them. For some reason, the guard seems to have stopped moving in my heist. I'm not sure that's a bad thing, but at the same time, I'm not sure it's a good thing. With them not moving, I can't exactly get loot out very easily, I don't think. If it's like, in front of them. I didn't pick up an our buy bag like an idiot yet again. So there's the server. I think the server was the only thing I've yet to get, and there's a camera. I'll note, by the way, that you want to be very careful opening these doors I'm opening right now. If you open both of these doors, there's a good chance that guards can possibly path outside the balcony over here. They don't do it unless you open them, but if you do, then they'll start pathing out here, and it can be kind of difficult after that to sort of move loot around. Though at this point, they don't see me moving anymore, these guards, so probably not great an issue, perhaps. Alright, another piece of loot out. Alright, well basically at this point I should probably point out one more thing. Shoot. Oh, I got a headshot. Note that if you get a headshot on these guys, they usually instant die, I think. So headshots work. Sadly, no keycard on him, so that's a waste of a body bag. I forgot he was there, and of course he triggered his alert. Note that inside these servers, if you played Election Day, sometimes there will be bags of money. I don't see any specifically right now, but sometimes in here you'll find bags of money that you can loot. Weapons too sometimes will spawn in one of those crates, I think, as well. Now you can also put drills on here, and there's something to know about these drills, I guess. You know what? Let's just do it. We're close to winning anyway, so. So note that this drill, it only has a minute. These are very easy to drill. They don't take that much time to drill open, but you want to be very careful of them because they're loud and people will be attracted to them. And they have this very odd propensity to break down a lot. Essentially, this has gone about like 15 or 10 seconds, and then boom, it's going to break down. Hasn't broken down yet, which is very nice, but it does break down a lot, these drills. I'm surprised no one is pathing to this drill. These drills will usually cause people to path to them fairly quick. Oh well. I get to get inside here and I get to show you it all off, I guess. So basically this is what these inside looks like. Sometimes there'll be money on these like boxes and weapons and stuff like that. Nothing in this one, as you can see, nothing in the other one. So these are all empty in this run through, but sometimes you'll find loot in there, which is worth noting. So I've looted a lot of stuff. Quite a bit of stuff. There is that painting to loot as well, but the only problem here about looting that painting is that it's in front of those like guards. There's also money outside in the containers I could loot to get up to 16 bags, and you know, be very easy to do. But for the most part, I've shown you off a good deal of this heist. The only thing I really didn't show you off was, of course, the samurai armor. I require 2 keycards to do that, and I simply just don't have access to those keycards to do it. So yeah, I can't show you it off. But I can, however, show you off everything else in the heist. I think I did a fairly lengthy job of doing so. And that's pretty much it for the heist. So as you can see, Shell Raid Heist is a stealth-only heist. You can get a lot of money, as you can see, on Overkill. So there's like just a sum of basically what happened, and a lot of money from it. You also get a fair amount of experience as well. I'll note that they changed a lot with the experience and the money outputs for a lot of these heists, by the way. So this used to not be as high, and many of the other heists I've done already, they used to not be as high as they were before. But now, as you can see, I'm getting a lot of basically this is a one-day heist, which is, you know, getting lots of experience for a one-day heist, which is unheard of before the update that recently happened. But yeah, that was Shell Raid. I got Wolf Begins. How nice. I hope you've enjoyed the sort of Let's Learn video I did. And I'm going to note that the only other heist I really have to show you off, or I plan to show you off for Bane's contracts that I've been sort of holding off on doing, is GoBank. So I plan to do GoBank eventually. I actually plan to try and get up to Reputation 100 first and show you it off. And the reason I'm going to basically hold off on doing GoBank is that I consider GoBank to be like the hardest heist in Payday 2. It's harder than all the other heists, in my opinion, than, you know, basically everything else. And it'll take some doing, both to show off what it has to show, you know, basically to show off, and it's basically just two ways of approaching it as well, stealth and loud. Anyhow, outside of that, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll basically end the video here. So hope you've enjoyed, so take care.